You're
You're muted,
muted.
Casey.
No, in the program. Editing moment.
What do
Editing
you?
moment.
Very
That's
proud
why
of
I'm
you,
the
Rachel.
stinking host, man.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I'm just waiting for that microphone to drop when you did it.
Well,
Well,
that was the microphone drop because as soon as that would drop, what cue? The freaking Raven's
music.
Whispers music.
Yep.
Right there. Boom.
Welcome to Raven's Whispers Across the Nine Realms, a podcast where Norse myth meets modern minds. We explore the realms of mental health, gaming, and community. One story, one conversation, one whisper at a time. All right, episode 6, guys. We're back at it again. It was a real short throw from editing, and thankfully I didn't have to do it, which is why we have our new editor, Casey Reed, here. She is going to be editing the podcast from here on out. And what if Mark had anything to do about it, be hosting and everything here on out. But that ain't happening yet. You ain't getting rid of me that easily. But yeah, we
Get
got
out of here.
we got Casey Reed. How you doing?
Hi, that's me. I'm doing okay.
And then we got Mark Peterson. Everybody knows that knucklehead up there.
Hi.
And our guest today is Lynn Rolf, the programs director for the VFW.
What up, y'all?
Hey. All right. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. We got some questions already pre-made, like everybody that has been a follower of the podcast. But we may end up going off the rails a little bit, as we do, especially with Mark here. No, let's go ahead and get into these questions. So typically where we start is the mental health journey. Lead us through your journey as far as mental health that kind of brought you to where you are today.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I can't thank Tro enough for your passion and your story behind mental health and how we as veterans can help each other. So I applaud y'all for what you guys are doing, and I use that in a generic sense, not male specific, of course. I really, going through my journey, I do attribute a lot to my military police background. That before I even deployed to Iraq, unfortunately, I got exposed to I got exposed to two mass casualty events in Korea. and then domestic violence death at Leonardwood years ago. Unfortunately, 3 young kids were killed, and I came upon the crime scene with some young soldiers of mine. That I looking back, I think it might have been because I was a little older as a lieutenant, so I really protected my young junior enlisted soldiers more than anything, and I would not let them see certain stuff. And looking back on it, yeah, I know it was the right decision. And I would not trade that for the day, even though it haunts me daily, especially the mass casualty event of a unit being lost in a flood, and those 3 young children that were drowned in a bathtub by their mother. That hurt. That that's a mark that will never leave you. And I think that maybe that actually, at least talking to a therapist before I fired them, because come to find out they weren't veteran themselves and really have a hard time talking about some of that stuff. And then guys that make crap up in group that you can see right through might have hardened me in Iraq, losing numerous soldiers, 6 to be exact. And you see on my arm with the poppy field till Valhalla. So it fits the Norseman. I really truly believe that my 6 guys are sitting up there looking down, protecting me to this day. And then a couple just friends that have been killed since overseas. A lot of guilt behind that. Did I make the right decision of putting them in that spot that they were tragically killed? I know they did sign that check that you don't want cashed, but the parents and I had a tough relationship trying to, I don't know, necessarily for my healing, but me trying to help them know that I'm here always, even though they do blame me. And that hurts, but I empathize with their loss. Unfortunately, realization that's the job of the tough burden of command. Unfortunately, since then, after I got out of the military, I went through a really rough patch for about 8 years, drinking every night. I should have been pulled over hundreds of times, DUI from the bar right next to my office, going out to my farm. Bad decisions. And luckily, my dad really had enough, being a Vietnam vet himself, put a boot in my ass. Actually got enrolled in the VA at that point. And started getting help, refused. And I don't take the medicine cocktails, but what I found is giving back to veterans and the community itself is what's kept me on the straight and narrow since then. So, long story short, but that's my journey till now.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, a lot of people that don't know, especially with vets, it's difficult to be so forthcoming with your information because it sucks because that vulnerability that was so ingrained to not have as a vet, and it doesn't matter what branch of service, but that it's difficult to get that part of yourself and become vulnerable enough again to share such a story of loss and heartache and guilt that we all feel when we experience these things, especially with the mental health issues. And that's another thing that we're trying to do at Troa is stop that stigma and let people in general know that you can talk about it and be okay. You're not weak for talking about it. For talking about it, you're actually stronger.
Absolutely.
So thank you again for sharing that. And the resilience side, when do you believe that I know you kind of hit on it while you were telling your story, but to focus in, when do you feel that the resilience side to where you're able to kind of speak out and talk, do you think it kind of came into play, or if a certain event happened that made you realize that you kind of do need to talk about it more?
Yeah, unfortunately, I had a fellow company commander take his life. We were there at the same time. I've become pretty close and realized I need to make a change. I need to talk about it. And with my dad, helping me and talking about his journey with me. Kind of where the sun started shining again, and then it just blossomed from there. We're just getting involved in different things, but it took that to see someone almost the exact same experience as me in Iraq, that we shared the same ground. Um, Unfortunately, he made that decision. Uh, I knew, a lot of us think about it, but we do know that I want to let our family members know that it's always greener, and not give up all hope.
There you go. I love to hear it.
Yeah, that's a very, very powerful story, Lynn. And, a lot of bravery and a lot of growth over the years that you've, had to suffer from a lot of trauma and all the extremeness that has happened. I, for one, believe that you're an amazing person for what you do for the veterans and for uh, anything that you probably have done in your life. You're giving back in a sense. So I'm really happy that we have you on this journey with us.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future between Tro and CTG. That's for sure.
Hey, I mean, we got, what is it? Ready or Not Tonight, as far as all the gaming stuff for those that follow our Troa Inc. channel. We're going to be doing, because I had to kick Mark in the tail end and be like, hey, we got to get back on this again and get Ready or Not going again and try to bring in a lot of the guys from CTG, because I know they've been like Stalker and Nav. They've been coming in and hanging out when I'm streaming. So it's been good to see the guys pop in and out. All right, Mark, you want to go on to question 2?
So I believe question 2 is about the gaming journey and how it mends in with your story. Tell us a little bit about your gaming.
I don't know how old everyone is, but I grew up with Tamo Bow and Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and
Yes.
that kind that I remember in the college dorms playing that, especially Tamo Bow. I mean, I was on the football players' dorm floor, so it was every night it was Tamo Bow, especially Bo Jackson just running people over. Yeah. So and I lost just because getting involved, young lieutenant, didn't have much time, but I always would walk by my soldiers' barracks rooms when they were having great times Friday, Saturday nights over in Korea, and just step in and watch. And had seen over time as this thing started progressing, I was like, man, I'm not that coordinated to jump into COD or those high tech games. So I stayed around Cabela's big game hunt, the outdoor type of hunting and fishing games. Always, I've got a full tablet, so when I'm at the airport, unfortunately, I live out in the country. My Wi-Fi is just miserable, so I can't play at home. But when I'm traveling, can definitely jump on and shoot a moose or a bear. And just I that's me. That's my redneck side. I love to hunt. I love to share my hunting dog with vets that have never hunted or just can't physically get out. And I got a track chair that I'm able to get guys and girls out and hunt, and that's my passion. So, but what happened was going through COVID at the beginning, I mentioned the leadership that we need to find a new way to connect and really help vets chase their benefits. So we tested a tournament with the Kansas City Veterans League here, and it was really good. And then different priorities hit, different leaders. Kind of shifted into about 2.5 years ago, and I pitched the idea again and said, "Hey, I want to formalize veterans only lead through the VFW, that we can help them see through the misinformation online and specifically social media on the initiatives. Tell our story of what we're doing in Congress, and then just try to connect bets and bring our whole wealth of all VFW programs, which that's my ultimate responsibility as the national programs director. And what this has done for me personally is it's made me feel like I'm back in the barracks with my guys again. Just the camaraderie, the fun, and the razzing Marines. You're such an easy target.
Oh, listen, my
Yeah.
15-year-old is already starting to eat crayons and he makes jokes about it all freaking day. And I'm just like,
I
oh
mean,
God.
we have Austin.
Yeah, we do have
Come
Austin.
on. You
Yeah.
know, he,
He makes it easy. He makes it easy to pick on him.
So that's
so
kind of that's really where we're at now, and kind of we grow so fast that trying to refocus and try to, because I've been managing it by myself for so long, and I finally got a great staff involved that can lessen the workload off of myself to be able to do more and have more opportunities and more exposure out there.
Touching on gaming and, your mental health journey, can you tell us how gaming ties into your mental health journey and how much of a part it has been to your healing through that?
Absolutely. Thanks for the questions. The camaraderie aspect, as I mentioned, before even getting this formalized, the opportunity for that I'm presented with to help others get the resources they need definitely is a huge personal benefit. Knowing that our community's already saved 7 lives, and the first one happened within the first month and a half, because he was not being treated at the VA properly by, and I'm going to say this very, very carefully, he was not treated right by his MST coordinator. And with military sexual trauma, it's not just women that unfortunately some men have gone through that experience, and was able to step in with our resources in DC and got an investigation going. The MST coordinator is no longer there. And this young man, even though he stepped away from the group, because he unfortunately some vets told him, "Oh, you're not a real vet for only serving 6 months," even though he was raped on his 5th month on a Navy ship. So every once in a while he'll send me a picture, and we went through a long battle. I mean, one minute he loved me for what I was doing, next I was the biggest enemy in his life, and you just see his mental struggle, and to be able to get him through that. Now he's got a service dog. Now he's got a fiance, and he's young. I mean, we're talking middle 20s maybe, and to go through this and not be supportive, and and he admitted, he goes, "Yeah, some people think that I was on the other side of the fence, sexuality, just because of the way his voice was." So veterans treated him like crap, even away from being raped by his senior chief. Um, but just people gave him a lot of crap, and bullied him, and get him through that journey. That that's the power of what we do through gaming. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And uh like you mentioned earlier, it's like helping each other out no matter what you're going through. That's the purpose of this community in gaming, is you don't have to meet anybody to be considered friends in person. And it's those connections with such a not physical connection, but a digital connection is why gaming is so powerful, especially like you mentioned through COVID, and why it saw an uptick in gaming consoles and PCs being sold everywhere in the world during COVID, and how gaming became such a powerhouse because of it.
And it spanned all generations too, because the grandparents needed to connect with their grandkids, and they're and what better way to connect them through Twitch or whatever medium.
Technology landscape just changed during COVID and opened the doors to mainstream lines of communication, Zoom, Teams, all those avenues just grew exponentially.
Oh yeah, I love it.
So I kind of want to add in the VFW and like your experience and how you got involved with the VFW. And then we'll go into CTG because I think that it will progress from that part of your story.
When I got out of the military, I was back here in Leavenworth, Kansas, and just to be clear, outside of the prison walls, not inside. That's where I graduated high school. My dad retired here. My brother's currently stationed here. A couple of high school buddies and myself, we walked in VFW after a Veterans Day parade, and we weren't even really there to go watch the Veterans Day parade. We were down there. We had a day off from work, and we were at a bar, and we noticed the parade. That's how disconnected I was initially, and we stumbled into VFW, and really life changed at that point because I saw some people I didn't know were vets and connected, and then talked to dad and got all the way engaged at that point. Became post commander within a year because I didn't like what they were doing. It was just a bunch of old guys fighting, bickering over crap that didn't even really matter. And so I got a bunch of friends of mine my age, and we took the place over. Basically, within 9 years, I became state commander in Kansas pretty fast because I just kept fighting the bureaucracy and knew that there was better ways to do business, more modernized business practices. And that led me to taking over the whole Western Conference of the VFW, which was every state and country from here in Kansas, west through California out to the Philippines. I had that responsibility to lead that conference for 2 years. And I was looking at potentially running for national office. And then this national director of programs job came open. A guy I'd worked with years, of course, being state commander. And asked me to come in to interview. And almost 11 years later, I'm here as the programs director and got blessed with this opportunity. My granddad being a third generation VFW members, hating it that I sold out and on staff and national, but I know he's proud too.
That's awesome. So, going into out of military career into, the VFW, you get yourself settled. Now you're the programs director. Now let's go ahead and talk about how you started CTG. And we kind of know already because we talked a little bit about it, but how did CTG become a household name in the veteran community? Because it seems like from what I know, that CTG is well known throughout the veteran community. Even if you say, hey, there's two major groups right now. It's regiment and CTG. So a lot of people know who you guys are.
Talked about dabbling in a tournament during COVID, and then I started hearing, and I wasn't all that familiar with Discord at all. And my stepson, we were talking one night, and he had asked me if I was on Discord, and I was like, "What the hell is Discord?" So of course, started go on that, and he goes, "Hey, come follow me on Twitch." And I was like, "Dude, you're not for lack of like you're not epileptic. I'm not gonna follow you twitching." Um, so of course he explained to me what Twitch was, and dove into that, I was like, holy cow, I had no idea. So me being the young director, really got myself smart and signed up and took some classes and just learned how it all worked. And um, the commander in chief at the time wanted to do something totally different. He said his son was serving over in Japan as a Marine, and he had started talking to his son through Xbox, but he didn't play games. He just got on Xbox and just talked to his son. And I was like, well, we can do something. So he asked me to put it together, and I presented to our national board or council administration, and they trusted me to build something. And thanks to some of the other groups and partners, and really the VA, because we do have a strong relationship with the VA, because we actually helped the VA start. But they also know that we're their biggest critics too. We hold them accountable. So sitting on their war room, really able to help the VA progress in this world. A little more backdoor on the journey on how CTG was founded.
And to this date, how many members does CTG have? Do you know?
Yeah, we're just about almost 3,000 now. Um, we called a bunch because, I mean, you guys know this. Sometimes you get people that have multiple accounts. Some engage, some don't. So I put a policy in place every month. If you've not been involved or done anything, any engagement in 90 days, we're going to call you, and you got to come back if you really want to. But I don't I don't believe in just having numbers to have numbers. If you're not involved, you know what? Maybe we weren't the place for you. You got to show us. So, which I know you guys 100% believe in also.
Yeah.
So I actually have a follow-up question for you. You said that you had taken some classes. Now I am um, probably younger than you. Do you have any advice for people who are older who aren't used to Discord, Twitch, gaming, who are looking for that community, even, vets, civilians, whoever? Do you have any advice of how to get into those things or what kind of classes that you took to help you figure it all out?
Yeah, I watched. First of all, I watched my stepson a lot and was able to ask pretty. I didn't have to worry about being embarrassed with him. But that branched me into YouTube, of course, and just Googled a lot of things I was hearing and got smart on it, and just really went down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos and watching, and actually used that to help me build the Discord server uh, of CTG. And there was one guy on staff that actually knew what Discord was, so he works in our communications team, and I taught myself how to run our E4 Mafia bot and how to build it. I just by watching YouTube, and was like, well, I'm gonna try this, and he was learning right there with me, and now I've got guys that just do some crazy stuff like all your features on your server. It is amazing what the capability is, but I would really suggest to any veteran that wants to learn, and I try not to, I really not say old versus young or middle aged. It's more just should, if a veteran just unsure, just get on and research and take the time, or just ask. Don't be afraid to ask that question, and so many of us will be there to help them get through and understand.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm personally at the back end of the Gen Xers, and what since 98 got lumped in with the millennials because I was born in 85. So I'm
86.
yeah, you're still a millennial. There's no changing that. Uh But yeah, no, and there's a lot of stuff since I've been on this journey since 2019 now, with the gaming and streaming full time. Well, full time, and that's big air quotes. I've used YouTube to create and teach myself audio mixing and production, video production,
Yeah.
Discord, because I had a community prior to joining Troa that I built based off of everything I saw on YouTube. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm 40 now, and but
Old man.
I'm a part of the Nintendo generation. We've had games since I was little. I mean, the Atari 8600 was my first console. So I get it. And it doesn't matter how young or old you are. It's like I tell my 15-year-old, you don't know something, you've got a phone in your hand that is literally a computer. Look it up.
And now with AI, I, you know, I tell the, I actually tell the older vets, I was like, Google's dead to me. I use AI now. And they're like, what?
ChatGPT. Whoop whoop.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's his love partner outside of his human companion.
I have named. I have. It's no longer ChatGPT. It's Jeff GPT is what I call it because it actually has a name now because I use it so much. It's my assistant. It's my executive assistant. It's my it's everything.
Watch
AI
out,
is
Randall.
really good.
Mhm.
yeah, my wife thought I was talking to a stripper when I said, hey, Gemini. She goes, do I need to ask? I was like, no, I swear to God, I'm not cheating.
Lovely. I do have one other
So
thing too, because one thing that I definitely wanted to kind of add into that segment was the VFW. At now, I've been out since February, but I'm a 23-year vet, and I'm actually now it's been 20 or 12 years now since I left Afghanistan and got back home. But I've actually got my application now for the first time in with my local VFW post. And of course, waiting for the first of the month for their voting cycle. But what is something as far as advice for vets that are thinking about joining the VFW or American Legion or any other veteran association? What advice would you have from the top to give to these guys and gals to join up?
Yeah, I would first of all say just give it a chance. Don't buy into the negative hype that you might have read or heard. In the interview, that BFW, that Legion, the DAB, or some of the other nonprofits that are out there, make sure it fits it aligns with your vision and what you want to do. But I really ask, give the legacy BSOs a chance because we need you first of all, but don't give up when you do face a little adversity. Because I tell my soldiers all the time, it's like you're a damn combat vet. You're letting that crotchety old guy beat you just because he said, "No, come on." You really believe in it. We need the influx of new ideas now to help set us up for the next generation of combat vets because most of us at the national level are 9/11 generation of Iraq, Afghanistan vets that are really technically behind the scenes running the BFW, all directors. And a lot of people don't know that, so they just think it's a bunch of geriatric gin joints.
Yeah.
And you got that welcoming committee, that old crotchety old veteran sitting there smoking a cigar and come over here, honey. Um, so I'd say each one is different. Each one's got their own capabilities. Each town is different. And if you don't find the one that just really fits you, move on, find another one, or even just join the national organization. You don't have to belong to the local until you find the right one. It helps us when our chief every year in March sits in front of Congress and delivers our yearly report and what we're standing up for. And right now, we just elected the first woman veteran to lead the VFW ever, and she's going to be there in DC testifying in March. And when she says we got 1.1 million or 980,000, the number at the time, those numbers, those legislators know that that's their constituency, and they better listen. So you may not have time to get involved. We just ask you to sign up so we can take your message and hopefully educate Congress on why certain healthcare initiatives and benefits are so important to us.
Yeah.
Because they sent us off, we got broke. They need to take care of us.
Yeah, we got broke
Yeah.
for them, and now they gotta hold up their end of the bargain.
Yep.
Absolutely. They need to honor the contract. When we signed up and enlisted or got sworn in the military, we signed a contract. Now they need to honor our contract. That's our priority this year as the VFW to hey, military broke us. We need your help.
Yep.
Yep. And I would like to add, for any vet that's not a combat vet, walk into your VFW, man. You don't have to be a combat vet to go and hang out and be around people that understand you and that you can form that camaraderie with. You don't have to have had combat service. You just have to have had service. You just have to be prior service, and you should never be afraid to walk into the VFW. There's a lot of really good people there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I tell you, we really pride ourselves as VFW. We look at it as no one does more for veterans. That's one of kind of our unofficial mantra that we help all veterans. So yeah, just come. You need anything? Come see us.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know like one of the things going into this partnership that TROA and the VFW have, one of my passion projects was getting with a lot of the CTG guys and going around to local posts to help them kind of upgrade a little bit in their ideals so that we can then modernize the VFW posts enough to where we can bring in those younger crowds from the GWAT era of vets and younger, like the 19, 20-year-olds that are getting in and especially on active duty, going to war at 18, 19 years old, and give them a place to where they can feel like they've got a home in the VFW as well. And that's one thing that I've been telling Mark. I'm like, listen, this is a passion project now. And you want to do this? This is what I'm going to be doing a lot of my time outside of other things, but is getting into these posts. And that's another reason why I kind of wanted to force myself to push to get my application in. So I have a little bit of standing as a fellow member, but also going to them as TROA. So
100%.
Yeah. So, CTG has, in itself, been an instrumental part of uh, your your story, just like Charla has, for me. You know, what are some exciting things that are coming for CTG that you're willing to share with the audience, if anything?
Yeah. Well, I would say first and foremost, or what we're going to do together with the Troll VFW relationship is going to be so critical in mental health to help, first of all, VFW, but is the CTG community understand what y'all do and the power and the resources you've got. But for us as CTG to help the Troll community, if they need help with benefits or those type of programs that the VFW's got, like our Student Veteran Scholarship, which is the largest in the world. A lot of people never even heard of it. To help and mutually support each other is really exciting. Some of the other things that are really coming up that I'm really pushing us more. even though I'm using CTG as the platform, I'm setting the VFW up to become the VR center of excellence with the VA to really show and our great friends of Helium, which is a VR healing platform, to show that the VA, first of all, has had this because Helium is the VA provider. They're just, I think they're at every regional facility. They're not at every facility yet, but I actually had a soldier of mine that got shot and blown up in the same day in Afghanistan. I had him and his wife at our national convention sit down with it, and she texted me next morning and said, "My husband's never slept this well." So I've seen it. I've seen the power of VR with healing, and with VR, it's so incredibly. We talked about AI a little bit. VR's right there on that emerging threshold of so much stuff that the capabilities of VR is unlimited now. That I can take a couple headsets and a cheap tower into a VFW post, and I can set up 3 escape rooms for them, and they can make money now in their bingo hall that they can't rent. But at the same time, they can bring in support groups and go through this. So there is so much incredible technology that's going to be my number one priority, is just the education, and try to keep us as the national level at least informed, and try to stay on that cusp. And I know it's going to take a long time for the horse to drink that water. Sometimes I do have to drown them, but if they're willing to listen to me, I can help them raise money. I can help them change lives and save lives with a lot of this great technology that's out there. They just got to give it a chance. So I'm really looking forward to working with Tro and us, especially on the VR front with Helium, to provide that asset to more veterans out there. And there's a lot of vets that already use VR that don't know about this stuff. So really, that gives me goosebumps of the future of that. You just have no idea where that can go.
Well, then too, you got to look at, you got games like Fortnite, for instance, that does live concerts. What's to say we could eventually get to the point where we could end up holding full conventions for mental health or just wellness, mental wellness on these platforms that are so big already, and they're free games. Like Fortnite is a free game essentially that kids can get on and play, and then there's events that can be held within them to assist. So that's kind of like an end all be all for me as far as the gaming and mental health side, because I mean, I've been a full advocate for mental health since I was a little kid, because I keep talking about I was a 3-time survivor myself, and that was even before Afghanistan. So it's an amazing thing that gaming to me has, and I mean, we're already on the cusp of what is known as Ready Player One status with gaming and VR, to where you could live in the system, and as long as you eat, drink, and sustain your body, you could essentially live in the worlds that are virtual.
Yeah,
Going to be like,
it's amazing.
what was that movie that they were all in their wheelchair, or they were in like hovered cars or something like that, and they were always in VR. I can't remember what. Wally.
Yeah, Wally.
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 We're in the world of Wally.
For like 4 generations, they're
Wally.
in wheelchairs, and everything's fed to them. Yeah. All right, so let's kind of shift out of gaming a little bit and get back into the modern age for vets. We talked about how the VFW is a pinnacle part of the VA, which is Veteran Affairs, for those that haven't heard any of the current lingo. But, and then to you, what kind of journey did you have personally before the VFW professional connection with the VA? Ups, downs, because I'm sure every vet that's ever dealt with the VA, especially on the medical side, has always run into headaches. Yeah, it's just a freaking roller coaster. But what were some of your low points that you want to talk about versus some of your high points, and then the overall benefit that the VA can give you when they're acting right?
Right. Yeah, I think every vet probably has about the same experience that, we think we can do it all on our own. And then you might make a uninformed decision. And that's pretty much what I did. I heard some of the guys at the office because I was a defense contractor when I first got out, and a couple of guys were talking about how they were getting their benefits done, but there was never a mention of someone helping them. And just the complaints, and I tried it on my foot because I broke all 5 of my bones in my foot playing Army soccer for the Pacific Command when I was young lieutenant. And I was like, oh, this is easy. I got my medical records. I'll get 100% for my foot.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of us have no idea what we're even talking to you get involved in. And of course, I get the letter. Hey, thanks for we are now claiming you as 0% service connected for your foot. And I was like, what?
What?
Yeah. So I really was disheartened at that point and didn't know any better. And then when I got involved in the VFW, started hearing about our service officer program and what the BSOs do. And I'd asked my dad, and my dad was like, "Oh, I don't need that. I'm doing pretty well." Um, I talked to a young guy, and he told me that he just got a couple of appointments, and they went through his medical records and asked questions, and um, he was able to get benefits, and he does not have to pay for health care for himself, and it saves some money for his family. And um, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So as I moved up, started meeting more and more people, started going to DC and hearing testimony, and sat down with a guy, a fellow 10th Mountain guy that I met. And he walked me through, and he said, hey, we need to go through your medical records again. So I went through and ended up getting benefits finally, and grabbed my dad. I said, I'm taking you down to the VA now to meet our VFW service officer. And I knew my dad was getting ready to retire from the Department of the Army after a second career. You, with his Agent Orange exposure, and he never thought about that. Thank God I got that for him 10 years ago, because now he's got neuropathy. His feet are numb. He's got all kinds of issues that are just coming up now. And if I would not have gotten him into the VA 10 years ago and got all that service connection, and now with the PACT Act, for what we're getting as younger vets for our exposures, and I'm still not personally happy because being an MP at Fort McClellan, I feel like they really, for lack of a better term, they really shit on all the women, all the whack women that were at Fort McClellan, the chemical officers, the military police officers. That base was deemed the most toxic military base in the world, in Camp Lejeune. And that once you get smart and you get connected, you start seeing the power of a VSO service officer to help you, so that way you're not overlooking stuff to get your benefits and what it can do to help help your family too. If God forbid something happens, your family can at least be set up for success after you pass.
Yeah, absolutely. And I accredit all my progress with the VA recently medically with my wife because she did third party claims through Revocor for over 3 years, I think, and she actually lit a fire up under the VA's ass this past year because I started having major numbness and uh, maneuverability mobility issues in my right side, and she lit a fire up under their ass so hot that they finally got me in and started doing full body scans and everything, found a cyst on my spine actually. And we're working on trying to figure out what is causing all my numbness, thankfully, and finally got some pain meds. And of course, I've always been against pain meds because you can't take so many narcotics and deploy, and that was always a big thing while I was still in. So now that I'm out, I'm actually considering these meds, and boy, are they nerve blockers and everything. I'm actually able to move more so than I was previously.
God bless your wife.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's I think that's about all our questions. Anybody got anything else for Lynn? Mark's doing double duty over there.
Um, no, I don't think I have anything. But is there anything that you want to tell the audience? Lynn, that or anything that you want to share about getting the benefits, which you kind of have, but like just letting people know that there are resources out there too.
Yeah, I'd say just jump on the VFW website, and if you need help getting your benefits, reach out and we'll get you a service officer close to you, and give us a chance. And I'm looking forward to having y'all on our, we've got a legacy podcast that we just launched our own little gaming podcast that be able to help our community understand what exactly troll is. So looking forward to the amazing relationship between the two great communities, and we're definitely going to save lives together.
Yeah. Casey, what you
And
got?
um, what advice would you give to somebody who's going through a mentally unhealthy time? What would you say to somebody who is just looking for that little piece of motivation?
Get out and help someone, and you're going to find yourself feeling a lot better and about yourself, positive, and then we can get you in for numerous resources that are out there. But take the time and research. But I tell you, there's nothing better than helping someone else out, get your mind right, and that is a proven phenomenon. That when you help someone else, you're going to help yourself, and then as that fog lifts, we can get you into professional resources. I have no doubt about that. I've looked at.
I think that's great advice.
Oh yeah.
Here I probably say here in the next month or two, when I think we're going to start rolling out our first contact program. You probably have seen that in our Discord. It's a dedicated channel to where there'll be somebody pretty much positioned there to be that first line of defense for those that are having any type of crisis. And I think what we'll do is we will be piloting. I can't say the word piloting the program. I think we should do it with CTG as well, and see how it goes, and get some of those metrics out and see what we can come up with.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're working on. Actually, and everyone knows, unfortunately, the VA took a big slash in employment of veterans just recently. But we've got a past VA employee that's working on some amazing stuff that we can also assist with, and looking forward to getting that resource of yours out there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and we actually have the individual that is Casey right now with us. Actually, had come on one night, and I hope you're okay with me sharing this, Casey. But
Yeah.
um, it was she was in distress, and she was going through some stuff, and I immediately sent Randall a message to get online now. We have a issue. We have a crisis, and within I'd say 5-6 hours of talking and conversating, kind of like this first initiative. Um, she's here with us, and we're grateful for that, and we we did good as an organization. So that's one of the reasons we are here and what we do. Is to stop the stigma, to listen, and to be empathetic with anybody that we come in contact with, because you don't know what an individual is going through. But since then she's joined our team, as you can see. She's been very active, as a community advocate. She's one of our mental health advocates now. That's just one of those, I don't want to say success stories, but one of those stories that could have gone a different way. And I
Absolutely.
think that's one of the things that we want to do as an organization, is turn minds around and no forever naps, as we call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I can say is amen.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for sharing with us.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that in the YouTube and podcast everywhere that we are currently at, which is Spotify, Apple Podcast, and iHeartRadio, we're going to make sure that in the descriptions of each of the posting locations, we have links to the VFW and CTG. And also we have our own socials, as everybody understands. So if you can't quite get into one, there's always the other. And we're always here with each other. And we're going to make sure that we continue this fight to stop the stigma with our partners at VFW and CTG. They are amazing individuals. Of course, the CTG guys are a little hard headed, but what vet isn't? So we're here to kind of bridge that gap as well. So if you want to join us, please feel free to click on any of the links that we provide. And Lynn, thank you again. And I'm personally looking forward to working with you directly and indirectly in the future to get both of our programs up and going in the right direction, to get these knuckleheads right on both our sides and make sure that everything is moving smoothly so that we can stop the stigma.
Helheim's gates, the shadows near. We walked through sorrow, faced our fear. But Fenris Howe could not divide the shield wall forged in fire and pride.
You planned that.
Yo,
Yeah, duh.
You planned that. It stopped. Really? Good. Very, very good. Very proud of you.
The raven whisper, we now rise, where eagles scream and fate defies. 9 realms behind, but not alone. Together we have built our own. Through blood and bond, through storm and sky, we found the truth no
because I'm a knucklehead.